Hi, how are you? I hope you've been very well. If you're new here and we've never actually met, my name's Eleanna. I am a makeup artist. Among a few other things, we'll talk about it. It's nice to meet you. If you've been with me for a while, you'll know that I've been a bit MIA. We'll talk about that too. Today's topic of discussion is going to be wellness. As an umbrella term, we'll talk about a few things over a cup of coffee while I get ready to start my day. I'm also going to tie up my hair because from the looks of it, it doesn't matter when I wash it, yesterday, because the humidity got me. So I made sure to skincare and prime my face before we got started, so let's go. Let me just take a quick sip of coffee because it's been like 4 hours. So before I start, I'm going to be using my Estee Lauder Double Wear Stay in Place makeup. I took off the color of it, so it's probably not my color. The color I usually get is probably too light for me right now as I have been in the sun. But let us begin. This whole topic started in March. I made a video talking about how much weight I had lost because of a job, and I had to temporarily leave that job to get healthy again. So yeah, let's pick up from there. I ended up getting a job that was not for me. The job was in retail. It was a 9-to-5 job. It was a manager's job. And I got it because I needed to pay rent somehow. And I needed a very low stakes job. And that's why I got that job. It was a simple, hi, you're here for the interview, you've got the job kind of thing. And for 3 months, and I talk about this in one of my previous videos, about not having creativity, being burnt out. In those 3 months, I learned a lot. Not about the job, retail, but I learned a lot about me and how certain hunches that I had when I was a teenager about the 9-to-5 were correct. I always kind of knew that the 9-to-5 build wasn't for me. I wasn't gonna be able to sit at a desk for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. That was never gonna be me because, you can kind of tell when you hate school, and you don't just hate it because you have to do it, you hate it because you feel claustrophobic in it. It's not exactly a career path you choose to sit inside an office. It's the reason I turned to audiovisual and lighting. It's the reason I turned to theater, because I wanted to work on productions. It was very physical work, it was creative work, it was always going to be different, and that's why that all happened. So in this retail job, at first it was great because retail is one of those steady income jobs, whereas audiovisual and lighting and production isn't. With audiovisual work, it's very seasonal a lot of the time. So you do have your production seasons, you have corporate gigs which are mostly quarterly or end of year, Christmas party style. It's very seasonal work, which means you get a lot of time off. You get a lot of time to rest, you get a lot of time to see the people that you care about, you get a lot of time to do the things you care about. You have time, which is a very valuable asset, I've discovered. And with that 9-to-5 job, I was at that job for longer than I was asleep in my own bed, if you can imagine. Which, if you work a 9-to-5, you probably can imagine. I think I'm applying a lot of makeup today for how hot it is, but I get distracted when I talk. Did I blend everything? Alright. Anyway, so the upside of this job, I saved a decent amount of money. And I was able to simultaneously spend a decent amount of money. For the cost of freedom, happiness, sleep, healthy eating, socializing, enjoying life, essentially. That was the price. So all the money that I saved up was at the cost of my happiness and my freedom. And it got to a point where I was like, is it worth it? Is it worth working this job that I know was a dead-end job? I knew it was a dead-end job. I worked it because I had to, and it was only going to be temporary. But in my head, temporary was until maybe December, January, where in the AV world, the season starts to pick up again, because I think spring season is March, or February, March. Did I say spring season? I meant autumn season. Yo. For concealer, I'm once again going in with the NARS Chantilly Creamy. Wow, I haven't done this in a while. Soft Matte Complete Concealer. in Chantilly by NARS. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the cost of my happiness and my freedom. Now, in addition to this, when you're working in retail, you have a very robotic demeanor. Hi, how are you? How can I help you today? Just so you know, everything's on a specific % off. Can I help you with anything? You know, like, what are you looking for? And it's this very fake, like, voice. It's a very fake mask. Your actions are very fake. You are a robot, like, all day, every day, and it's exhausting. I've done retail before, but I used to work in a technology section. I used to sell PlayStations, and the people that would come in, PlayStations, cameras, audio systems, they were people that I would have hung out with, musicians and gamers and stuff. So I didn't have to put on a fake voice. They came in knowing exactly what console they wanted. I knew the details of the console, and it wasn't like this. When you're working fake, you have no freedom of self, on top of all the other freedoms that they strip you of. So socially, you become suffocated. And it got to the point where I couldn't speak to my friends how I was normally. I was speaking to them in stress, like I have to do this for work, and I have to go to sleep now, and I have to go work, and it was always like just stress, and they were like, chill. Why are you stressed? You know you're here temporarily. It's not that deep. What is going on with you? And it got so deep into my brain, it got so deep rooted into my head that this job was now in control of my life. Now, you don't know me very well, unless I've let it slip and you figured it out because you have a good judge of character. I don't like being micromanaged. I don't like being controlled. Not many people do. In fact, I'm willing to bet my life that most people don't. So, from an industry where the managers and supervisors are in control from a safety aspect because the job is very safety conscious, that's very different to we are hiring you to be a manager and then not actually letting me manage a team or the store that I was managing. So I couldn't do a job that I was hired to do because I was being forced to do it like a robot. I couldn't speak to my friends or see my friends because I was so stressed about this job. All of it at the cost of my happiness and my wellness. So I quit that job. This is where the good stuff starts. A whole lot of realization, a whole lot of growing. Now, I quit the job before I went in for like a surgery that I had to do. And it took me a month. The surgery took me about a week or two to recover from. Like that wasn't an issue. But it took me about a month to regulate my nervous system. It took me a month to be able to sleep and not worry about when I'm waking up. It took me a month to train my body into the foods. Oh, that's another thing. Working that 9-to-5 job, I didn't have time to meal prep. I didn't have time to cook. I didn't have time to eat when I got home. So I was choosing between a few extra hours of sleep, showering, or eating. You can't do all of them at once because you go to sleep too late, you wake up 3 hours later, you go to work. So I had to sacrifice a few things, and I didn't want to sacrifice hygiene or sleep as often, so I sacrificed healthy eating. And my diet became takeout, cafe food, frozen foods, protein meals, like protein balls, protein shakes. I wouldn't call any of these meals, I'd call them supplement meals. I think that's the best I'm going to do makeup-wise. I'm not really a full coverage kind of person. So that's enough of that. Oh yeah, my coffee. This is my second coffee of the day too. To set everything, I'm going to use this sample of Hourglass Veil Translucent Setting Powder. I got a sample of this a while ago, and I feel like it's more satin finish than the one that I have by Mercier, which is more matte. So I'm going to use the more satin finish. I feel very much satin influenced and dewy influenced during summer seasons. So in my efforts to get back on track and realign my nervous system and sleep my effective hours, like 9 hours I need of sleep every night, in that process I realized quite a few things, and it started me on this trip where, what am I prioritizing? Is it in my best interest? It went down a very what would you call it? Other than wellness, what would you call it? It was like I started putting myself back on a pedestal. Like, when I was at that job, for instance, I was working my 9 to 5, and then I had 48 hours off, the weekend off. This is normal. And in that weekend, I chose to do housework, cook, sleep. And I started craving the sunlight. I started craving, craving sunlight, craving moonlight, and I started doing that again. I started being out in the city again, out in the world again. I was able to realize what's important to me. And it put me in a headspace where I never want to sacrifice any of that again. It's not worth it. For all the money in the world, it is not worth it. Right? Like, I started thinking about how we're taught, go to school, go to work, have a good job, save, save, save. But it's not worth the cost of 8+ hours of sleep. It was not worth not being outside, breathing fresh air in like the daytime, and it's summer here as well. So I was going to spend all summer inside that store, which was another deal breaker. Like, there's no way. I understand that I am speaking from a place of privilege where I can choose not to do jobs like that. And I understand because I have come from a place of I did need to do the job. I didn't have the privilege that I have now to say, no, thank you, that's not worth my time. And I understand that it's not going to be the same in every stage of somebody's life for every single person. It isn't the same. People have different things that they prioritize. And I think I'm just at a stage in my life where I do not prioritize that. And I started to reprioritize me. And in doing so, I realized that I am happier without it. Like, without that steady paycheck thing. It's not like I'm not working now, but you know what I mean? That constant 9 to 5, that grind, that struggle, for me, it isn't worth it. For me, what's worth it is seeing my family, seeing my friends, being able to sleep, being able to eat healthy, being able to work out. Today is a Monday, and I'm filming this, and I enjoy this, so for me, this isn't work, this is fun, which I couldn't do when I was working that job. And I get to go run my errands and spend my day outdoors in the sun. It will be 28 degrees Celsius today. Pretty hot. That's a beautiful day. That is worth my time. Like, I can prioritize that. You know what I mean? And it took me a whole month to slow down, which is so important in this fast-paced world, to slow down. So, am I happier now that I've left that job? Oh yeah, absolutely. Coffee. Every time I look over at my brushes, I see my coffee, and it's a great day. For my bronzer, I'm using the Benefit Hoola bronzer. I feel like this is just very 2016, but I don't care. This is when I discovered this bronzer. I've only really used it since last year, and I know why. I know why it got all the hype that it did. It's a good bronzer. Where is my little mirror? In the process of regulating my system, I was able to start meditating again, and just taking things slow. Taking things slow. Meditation was a huge part of that, which I also sacrificed because I didn't have time to meditate. I didn't have time to just sit. So I started doing all that again. And it was such a great thing to just be able to sit in silence and just reevaluate my life, which is a topic that I will be talking about in another video. Big things are happening. I'm in the middle of a move right now, like leaving my place, moving into somewhere new temporarily to move out again. Like, it's all happening, and you'll know soon. But it became very clear when I was able to do all that peaceful stuff again. That's what matters. So now I'm at a place where I'm reading again. Every single day. I started learning a language. I started learning Spanish again, which I tried learning a couple years ago, and then I stopped for some reason. I don't know why. So I picked that up again. I've started drawing again and painting. I've started filming again. And I have so many ideas that I want to do that I just haven't been able to do, and now they're gonna happen, and I'm so excited for it. Things that I want to try, things that are happening in my life. 2025 for me is going to be a wild change. And I'll bring you along with me, don't worry. You're going to love it. I'm going to love it too. It's going to be great. It's just, it was such a weird, I so easily fell into that robot cog in a machine mindset, and it stressed me out so hard. My skin started to break out. I started to gain weight again, like unhealthily gain weight. In a video before I got that job, I think, I was talking about wanting to gain weight the healthy way. And that, like, it was plummeting. It was not working out and eating junk food. And when I say junk food, I don't mean like KFC or McDonald's or pizzas or anything. It was just cafe food. It was as healthy as I could get it, but it was still not home cooked meals, you know? But I've been able to get back on the healthy bandwagon. Oh yeah, and I've started dancing again. I've only gone once. Would you call that I started dancing again? I've gone back once. I'm going to go back again this week, maybe twice this week, just because I have the time. And time is such a valuable asset, and you don't realize it until you do. Again, everyone's situation is different. I had nothing but time before, and it was stressing me out because, again, in this society, you need to be able to fund your lifestyle. But my lifestyle was deteriorating. It was a whole thing. And you don't realize how important some things are until you're stripped of them. And for me, that was time. Me time, specifically. So, all in all, the 9 to 5 is a system that is not healthy, which isn't news. It's nothing new that the 9 to 5 system is trash. But some people are built for it. Some people thrive in it. I'm not. I wasn't able to be creative, which made me very unhappy and stressed and like short-tempered and all that stuff. But again, I'm coming from a place of privilege where I can say I don't want to do that and move on. And now I have a job somewhere else and it's really beautiful where I work. So there's that. The blush that I'm using, by the way, is by NARS. It's Dolce Vita. None of this stuff has changed. I just haven't done a video in a while, and if you're new here, this is what I'm using. If you're not new here, I'm sorry. The reason I wanted to make this video is just in case anyone needs to hear it, prioritize you. If that means working and hustling and grinding, that's great. And if that means sleeping, that's great. I think I allowed for not too much, but I allowed enough for people to make me feel like I needed to be doing something instead of just breathing my way through it. And I'm not trying to diss the retail industry. I know it's necessary. It just isn't for me. And I realized in doing this that I am not the kind of person that can hustle and grind in a place that I don't want to be in. I'm not going to do well in it. I'm using a brown shadow now to fill in my eyebrows. It's from the Naked Smokey palette by Urban Decay, but honestly, any brown that you have, or whatever color your eyebrows are, will work. Yeah, I've realized that I'm not the kind of person that can take any kind of hustle and grind. It needs to be something that I feel passionate about. For example, making videos on YouTube does take up time. And at this point in my YouTube journey, I'm not getting paid to do it. But I'm having so much fun doing it. I get to do makeup or body painting or lifestyle stuff, and I get to edit it, which I do love editing. And then I get the thrill of posting something at the end of the week or scheduling something for the following week. That kind of hustle where I can be creative, work on my own time, sleep, very important. That kind of hustle I can do. That's the kind of stuff I guess I wanted to talk about. That if you don't fit into the system, you might not need to. And I'm learning that now. I guess in a way I always knew it, but I had to, when you've made a decision and then you think back on that decision and you're like, I wonder what would have happened if I had done the other thing. In my case, it was, I wonder what would have happened. I've always wondered what would have happened if I took a 9 to 5, if I took a desk job. Maybe I went the wrong way by taking a not so certain practical job, and I did not make the wrong choice. I knew myself well enough back when I was a teenager to understand I am not going to do well behind a desk. I'm not going to do well in an office with the fake lighting and the fake music and the hi, how are you today? And now I've found myself, I take quality time very seriously now. I will take an hour in the morning to practice Spanish. I will take an hour in the morning to read. I probably will take an hour at night to read as well, depending on what I'm reading. And I've decided on a book list that I know that I can finish by like all of next year, or even the last 3 books that I have for this year. This year has 3 weeks left, and I think I can do it because I have the time, and it's my priority now to just focus on that. I think it's very undervalued in society how quality time is so important. It's important just to live quality, you know. Yeah, I'm not trying to complain about what happened. I'm glad it happened. I'm glad that I have that resolution. I'm glad that I can prioritize me with complete confidence now. Like I am important to me, not the job that I was working, not any job that I'll be working. You know what I mean? And it took hitting rock bottom. 3 months. I've mentioned this in my previous video, my body painting video. 3 months it took that job to break me. Yo. But look, I'm grateful I had the experience. I'm grateful that I was able to say I made the right choice. I'm grateful that I was able, like, coming from a place of privilege, to leave that job. And I'm grateful now to be A, doing audiovisual stuff again because it's fun. B, get the time to spend with my family and friends during Christmas, New Year's, summertime. C, filming again, as well as reading, dancing, eating healthy, working out, going out in the sunlight, going out at night. All of that stuff is so valuable. It's so important. It's just, there's no such thing as a work-life balance. As much as I wanted there to be, as much as I tried, there was no such thing. They feed you this lie about, yeah, you have your weekends. And when I actually interviewed for that job, they were like, yeah, you'll have Sundays and Mondays off. And it makes it sound like, yeah, you'll go out on Saturday nights and you can also go out on Sunday nights, and you can, it's not 48 hours, it's 48 hours that you get off. It doesn't matter when in the week. It's not enough time. That's not enough time for the body to regulate. That's not enough time to rest, and that's not enough time to get anything done. And you end up sacrificing who you are and who you want to be for very questionable wages. Like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. That being said, it led me to where I am now, which is, am I having an existential crisis? Yes, absolutely. But I'm glad for it. You know, it was due. By the way, I'm using my nude palette that I always use, the Too Faced Born This Way Natural Nudes palette. The color that I'm using is Nude. So yeah, this is a positive video. It's not a video talking about how shitty everything was. It's a video talking about how important what I'm doing now is. And it's if you're going through a crisis in your life where you don't know which way to turn to you. You know what I mean? Choose you. And you will be at peace. And it's such a great feeling. Oh my god, it's such a great feeling. I don't know if I should be explaining how I'm doing this. I'm just covering my entire eyelid and upper eyelid with this color. I'm not really doing it in any kind of neat way. It's very haphazard. I'm just making sure to cover the entire area. I'm going to go in later and make it like a classic eye with a deeper shade. The good news is, now that I've had all of that experience and I've seen what it's like to work that kind of job in those kind of standards in that kind of industry, it's made me want to just come back full throttle and be as consistent as I can with YouTube. It's one of the biggest things that I missed doing, you know, using whatever creative thing that I have. And now I'm extra grateful that I get to do it again. Taking a small-ish, medium-ish blending brush and the color Truffle, which is this one. I'm only going to dab into it like a tiny bit, dust it off, and blend it on the outer V of the eye. I'm not really going to do a big dramatic thing. It's still like daytime. And make that into a classic eye. I just kind of elongate and buff out that V. I do have a semi-hooded eye, so that V has to be a bit bigger as opposed to just a small V. I don't know how else to explain that. Like, it does come a bit over, or a lot over the crease into that brow. Or else then you don't see any of the blending, any of the shaping, any of the work that we do. In terms of video ideas, I've got about 30 ideas, like for the next 30 videos, for the next 30 weeks or so. But this is the busy season where most things get done. There's a lot of holiday stuff involved, so that's exciting to film. After that, we'll see. I'll do another video moving on and all of that. And I wanted to start incorporating visual art. I was going to make a whole other video talking about this, but I mean, I'm still doing my makeup and I'm finished talking about all the points I wanted to talk about. So I love body painting, and I think the people that come to my channel or have found my channel have found me through my body painting. But as a medium, it's not my favorite. I draw with graphite and charcoal. Yeah, and I wanted to discuss art on my channel as well. I wanted to see if that's something you're interested in, because it's something that I'm doing now, like, normally. But it's something I wanted to incorporate in my channel. There'll be a whole other video on that, and I'll talk about art. Do you match? Until I find my ground again, like until I find my rhythm again and essentially my passions again. I think that's what I'm on right now. That's the path I'm on. I've prioritized me. I know what I want. Now I'm just finding out what fits, you know. And I think art would be a fun addition. Plus, it'll hold me accountable and I'll get to paint more. I basically use one color from this Morphe 35XO Natural Flirt palette. Can you guess which one? Which one that I use? I use it to highlight. I need to change it. I'll probably start using this one to highlight. It's just, or this one. But I'll do this one again today. It's matte, it's light. I don't know what it's called and the paper fell. Come here often if you're curious. And I take the same brush that I used before to do that nude color all over my eyelid. I'm taking that brush and just dusting that again haphazardly from the inner corner of the eye. And what I do is I press it into the inner corner and I lift it out, and then I just dab the edges so it softens the blow. I push it in and then like lift it up as I pull the eyeshadow across, and I make sure to get the bottom as well so we're even. And then with a pencil brush, when I find it with a pencil brush, I take that same color and I go a little bit, I do it in the front portion of my eyebrow because, again, semi-hooded eye, you don't want to really highlight the outside of it because it's going to highlight and accentuate the hood of the eye. And what you really want to do is you want to bring a little height to that front dip, that brow. And then I make a little extra pop in the corners where that big brush couldn't reach. Down the nose, which is kind of pointless because it's really hot, and as soon as I step outside it'll be like instant dewy. The Fenty Beauty fly liner, the black and the brown, was out of stock for the longest time in all of Australia, so I couldn't get it anywhere. And I ended up getting the Anastasia Beverly Hills liquid liner. I don't like it, really, at all. But, you know, desperate times call for desperate measures. I feel like I've said that a lot in this video. Maybe that's what I should title this video. Not wellness, but just desperate times. And I don't like it because I feel like it's too runny. There's no control. So I don't know if you're going to get to see it. I'm trying to see if I'm centered, but... and I don't like how wet it is. Let me just fix this sad liner. I also have my aircon on right now, so it's drying out really quickly. And I have to dip back in it soon. Oh yeah, another thing it does, hang on, let me just even this out. Another thing it does is it gets in my eyelashes and it wets them. It's not like gentle either. It hardens my eyelashes and then the mascara looks clumpy, and I'll change back to the Fenty Fly Liner soon. It's just for now, this is the best I have. Okay, I think that's the closest that it's gonna get to each other. To line my waterline, I'm going in with the one that I keep forgetting the name of, Makeup Forever Aqua Resist color pencil in black. When I talk, I get carried away. Like, hot summer's day, I'm running a few errands. I normally wouldn't wear this much makeup, but it's been a while and now it's done. I'm gonna take an angled brush and that color Truffle from before, and I'm just gonna add a little darkness to the outer corner of my lower lash to tie everything together. And then I'll buff it out with a pencil brush. Wellness, I've learned, it's not just physical health and mental health. It's, don't come for me in the comments, but it's spiritual health as well. It's knowing what's best for you on a peaceful sense. I was not wanting to choose stress, and I got into a habit of blaming the job. I started complaining. That's another point that I wanted to talk about. I was complaining, and I've realized this recently. If I'm complaining about something, it's because it's not meant for me. If I'm complaining about a job, or if I'm complaining about, I don't know, a situation, it's because that's not for me. And that's my cue to shift. So, well, my brush nearly broke. Yeah, so it's helped me do a little more evolving. If you want to talk spiritual stuff, I've always worried about bringing that into my channel. I don't know how it would go, but in regards to talking shadow work, talking emotional evolution, growth, stuff like that, figuring out who you are like in here as opposed to who you are to be seen, we can talk about that too, but I don't know how that will be received, so I've not talked about it. But that's the kind of work that I've been doing. That's the kind of stuff that I've realized, it's made me realize, I should say, that I enjoy art and I'd rather be doing that. Mascara is probably always going to be the Better Than Sex mascara by Too Faced because it is the best. Despite the eyeliner getting in my eyelashes way and ruining them. Sorry, I forgot to finish that sentence. Yeah, and look, in an effort to not complain, because I don't want it to come off as though I'm complaining, I just wanted to kind of explain what was happening, what I've been experiencing, what the realization has become, and it all stemmed from that job, which I am kind of grateful for having gone through it all, because now I know what I want. Whereas before I was doing it, I wanted to do this, like I wanted to be creative, I just didn't, there was a lot of uncertainty with it, whereas now I do not care about that uncertainty. I am certain that this is where I want to be, so I be here. Whereas before, yeah, I want to be here, but I also should probably be doing that, and this is better, and this is societally acceptable. You know what I mean? None of that anymore. We're not doing any of that. We're here because we want to be here. Sorry, when there's paint next to my eye, I have to focus and stop talking. Yeah, we're here because we want to be here. And we're going to enjoy the ride this time. We're not going to be stressed. We're not going to be worried. To set everything, I'm using the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. Because it's good. While we wait for this to dry, let's review. The 9 to 5? Not worth it for everyone. The hustle of the 9 to 5? Not helpful to your nervous system. Regulating the nervous system means slowing the hell down. Not stressing about things that aren't serving you is a good thing. What's worth the price of your freedom and happiness? Like, you can choose that too. An existential crisis is sometimes needed and necessary and important to have. I made notes because I didn't want to leave anything out. Yeah, the importance of being outside. The importance of being outside, because here's the thing. And I'm just because I just remembered it. When you're in constant air conditioning and lighting, those lights, as a lighting guy, you can trust me with this. Those lights that they use in office buildings and in retail and whatever, they're made to like, what's the correct word to use here? When it's not natural lighting and it's not staged lighting to create ambiance, it creates like robot mind. I don't know what to call that. That's what those lights do. The lights that I'm in now, so you can see me, those lights are brighter. It was blinding. So these lights I can deal with. You know, I've got softers on them. Those lights are like white, and they go straight into your brain and they're like, hey, fall in line. The music, that's just this very basic, they remixed songs to make them even more basic. And it's just like repetitive in your brain. It's not good for you. It's not good for you. The importance of sunlight. You spend all of that sunlight indoors. There's no time to enjoy the moonlight because you got to get home and sleep. Oh, it's so important. It's so important to be free of all of that shit. Anyway, I'm happy I'm out. I'm happy I'm back. I'm going to reset my foundation because I do that. Not everyone does this. I have oilier skin. So while oily skin is muted by the skincare, not the makeup, I do tend to reset everything on top of my setting spray. So I just go back in with that lightly. Not too much, but enough to kind of feel better. For whatever that means. The lip gloss that I'm using today is by NARS. It's called Nympho. It's a sheer one. I got it as a gift with the makeup pack, so I don't actually know too much about it, but all the details of what I've been using will be below. And even though it's sheer, I don't apply it over my entire lip. I apply it in the middle. I apply it in the middle. I usually go over my cupid's bow, usually go over the center part of my lip, I usually do. And that's it. It just brings a little more color so I don't look dead. And without putting extra product on the brush, I just blend it out. Do I have any coffee left? Forgot about my... Right after I apply lip gloss. The point of this video, if you manage to catch it through my rambling, put yourself first. Prioritize you every time. Your wellness is mostly about how you feel. How you feel will impact how you act to yourself, towards others. You know, it will bring you back to who you are. You'll be a much happier person. And it's, for me, the priorities were, again, sleep, healthy eating, working out, being creative. For you, it could be completely different as long as you know what you want. And you prioritize that, that's your wellness. So, yeah, I felt like I had to make the video because when I was trying to figure everything out, I was kind of lost and spiraling. Not spiraling sounds so dramatic, like I was falling in a pit of, you know. No, I was just kind of lost and confused and where do I go from here? If that's you right now, focus on you and it'll be okay. I hope you enjoy my rambling because I plan to stay. I'll see you next week with something completely different. I do want to incorporate body painting. I don't think I can do it every week. Because I am in the process of moving, I've already packed my body paints away and I've sent them off. Which I didn't realize that I did until the following day and I was like, well. But if you are new to my channel, I do a few things. Travel vlogging is going to be bigger in 2025, so if you enjoyed my travel vlogs, that's like more of that is coming. If you haven't, you should check them out. They're a lot of fun. More lifestyle stuff that I want to get into because that's the stuff I enjoy watching. I can do more makeup stuff that's more reviews. I just don't know what to review right now. We're taking it week by week as it comes. So if you'd like to stick around while I figure all that stuff out, you're very welcome to. It might be a little chaotic if you're into that sort of thing. But I'll see you next week. It's been fun. That was my second coffee of the day. I feel better now. I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover. I wanted to come on here and talk about wellness, and I think I did that extensively. So, if you take anything away from this video, find what you love and follow that. And I hope it brings you joy and peace and clarity, because that's what it did for me. I'm going to go now because it's truck hour. So it's good to see you again. I'll be back next week and I've missed you. And I'm so glad to be back. Bye. Mwah.